And now, live from Level 5 Productions on the island of Milleronia, it's The Larry Miller Show. Good evening, Mr. and Mrs. America, and everyone who hates the beach. Hi, folks, and welcome back to the Larry Miller Show. I'm Larry Miller, but in a way, aren't we all? And boy, is it ever beautiful here today on Milleronia. I know I've told you this before, but yes, I control the weather here, and I'm glad I do. Because I decided today will be 69 degrees, and it was beautiful, clear sky, and just dandy. Just what you want it to be. Not like, well, so many parts of our country, so many parts of America that are just horrible. Heat-ridden still. Like all of Southern California, most of the mainland is too hot. In any case, though, we're wonderful here on Milleronia, and Colonel Jeff agrees, and he likes being here too. And of course, the music makes us both feel so wonderful. That's the Kurt Wunder Orchestra and the Annette Funicello Dancers, featuring boy tenor Price Horn, asking the musical question: if comedians provide laughter for hire, does that make them mercenaries? Good question, by the way, Price. First of all, I just want to repeat that because it's a smart question. I want to make sure you got the parts of it. If comedians provide laughter for hire, does that make them mercenaries? Good question. Well, no. No, Price, no, it doesn't. And I'll tell you why. The Comedy Board of Directors prohibited its use a long time ago. And the reason is it's so close to the word mercenaries that comics they notified thought they meant mercenary. So they went out and killed someone. And nobody wanted that, so we're all just called comedians now. Heck of a question, though, Price. And by the way, Kurt Wunder was a very good friend of Colonel Jeff's, and he just passed away. And we wanted to mention him. He started a great bar in Philadelphia called the 700 Club, and Jeff said he was just a great guy, one of those good guys. And Annette Funicello was well known for many things, including dancing on the beach, and just for being Annette Funicello. And, well, that was good enough for us. And by Amazon. That's right, Amazon. Boy, they make me proud of them, and I think they're one of the greatest companies in the world, and not just because they send us a percentage of everything you order. Okay, it is that. But wouldn't you like them too, then? And Amazon does a great job. You know, you can get anything in the world you want. Whatever you can imagine, they can get for you, except, of course, an actual Amazon. And by the way, I know I've told you this before, but if you ever hear the doorbell and you open the door and there's a gorgeous 6'4" muscular, heavily armed woman, in other words, well, an Amazon, don't panic, don't be frightened, call us immediately and we'll come get her. Well, we'll come to say hi to you too, of course, and shake your hand, but that'll be very brief, and then we'll smile at the Amazon and just say, come with us, and make her feel at home in her new country. And she'll be happy, and Colonel Jeff and I will be pretty happy too. And so you know what you do, by the way? To go to Amazon, you can get there anyway. To get to Amazon, yes, your computer, yes, your iPhone, yes, anything you have that's electric. But don't bother with that. Just let us take you there. Go to our website, LarryMillerPodcast.com. Who's on the Mountain? Tom Mix.
This has been a Film Waste presentation, darling.
You know what? That was terrific. I always loved the things, well, Colonel Jeff finds and makes. And, that was from Green Acres, which is also one of the shows they show with the great, well, Eddie Albert and Ava Gabor. They have a great cast anyway, but you know what? It taught me, Eddie Albert is one of the greatest actors we've ever had, and is before in film and TV. But you know what? Ava Gabor is terrific. She's not only beautiful, but as you hear in her voice, to say darling like that, you really have to have some stuff. And she's terrific. And thank you, Colonel Jeff. Yes, go to our website, and we have a banner that says Amazon. Click that, and we'll get you there. Just click our banner, and then go lie down on your easy chair with a magazine over your face, and think of, well, an Amazon or Ava Gabor. And believe me, either way is fine with us here. And we'll get you there. We'll take you to Amazon. Get anything you want, and we'll be happy, and Amazon will be happy, and you'll be happy. Which brings me to my favorite part of the show, the joke of the week. This is a good one, too. Well, the Colonel and I love good jokes, and geez, I just love passing them on to you. And here's the one for today. A kung fu student goes to see the head of the school, and the head is sitting there in that great kung fu guy position, and his student there says, well, Master, I'm wondering why I'm not doing better here. I've been here at the academy for 6 months, and I wanted to be, well, I wanted to be farther along than I am now. And the master looks at him and nods and says, tell me, student, have you ever seen gulls flying by the setting sun and their wings seem to be on fire? And the student says, yes, master, I have. And the master says, have you ever seen a mighty waterfall passing over the stones, but leaving them in place? Yes, I have, sir, many times. Ah, and have you ever seen the calm water that seems to touch the moon to reflect its enormous beauty? Yes, sir, I have, master. And the old man says, you see, there you are. You keep looking at all the dumb junk instead of training. I think that's a pretty good joke. And I love jokes also that we've talked on this before, but it's good to say it again. That I love how their accents change in the joke. I just love that. Say, there you are. What are you doing? Yeah, what are you, stupid? And that joke has it, where the accent changes. In any case, if you like that one, as always, pass it along. Tell it to your friends at work, your family, or your pals, anything you want to do. Because keeping a good joke alive is better than letting it die. And that brings me to my second favorite part of the show, the Poetry Corner. Boy, that string quartet never loses its touch. This is a wonderful poem, a lovely poem by the great John Keats, who lived from 1795 to 1821. Keats lived in London and was an English romantic poet. And, oh boy, he knew what to do with words. And this one is A Thing of Beauty, Endymion, by John Keats. A thing of beauty is a joy forever. Its loveliness increases. It will never pass into nothingness, but still will keep a bower quiet for us, and a sleep full of sweet dreams and health and quiet breathing. Therefore, on every morrow are we wreathing a flowery band to bind us to the earth, spite of despondence, of the inhuman dearth of noble natures of the gloomy days, of all the unhealthy and o'er-darkened ways, made for our searching. Yes, in spite of all, some shape of beauty moves away the pall from our dark spirits, such the sun, the moon, trees old and young sprouting a shady boon for simple sheep, and such are daffodils with the green world they live in, and clear rills that for themselves a cooling covert make. 'Gainst the hot season the mid-forest brake, rich with the sprinkling of fair musk-rose blooms, and such too is the grandeur of the dooms we have imagined for the mighty dead, and endless fountain of immortal drink, pouring unto us from the heavens' brink. Isn't that lovely? Boy, this guy, John Keats. Thank you, John. And I hope you like that, folks. And now I come to the third favorite part of the show. MMM, the Magic Movie Moment. Oh, boy. This is a terrific movie, folks, and it's been a long time since I've seen it. The Westerner from 1940, directed by William Wyman, starring Gary Cooper, Walter Brennan, Dana Andrews. What a great cast this has. And it's about the Old West, and it's about Gary Cooper as well. He plays a guy who just kind of wanders into this small town and runs into someone you've probably heard of, Judge Roy Bean. He has a little bar and just with little wooden stuff all around, and that's his headquarters. And yes, he was known as the hanging judge. And boy, oh boy, did he ever do that. It's a wonderful movie with such, as I already said, just such a great cast. And it makes you think and it makes you believe that you're really there. Boy, not a lot of things can do that. And in the beginning, when they've already hung someone before Gary Cooper gets there, and then he gets there, and nothing Gary can say is going to charm the judge, because one of the judge's right-hand men there says that, well, Gary Cooper did this, and he committed this crime, and nobody's believing him in anything. And Gary notices that suddenly he just sees something that the judge is saving, that it's just a portrait with a little notice about Lily Langtry, the great Lily Langtry. And Cooper suddenly just turns to the judge and mentions how, well, I know Lily Langtry. In fact, I met her. And the judge just is agog. He can't believe this. And he's just thrilled to hear this. And, folks, they begin to talk about Lily Langtry, and Judge Roy Bean, played by the great Walter Brennan, brings out whiskey. And they're going to have a drink together to toast Lily Langtry, to toast everything. They're going to drink, and when they say drinking in those days, they weren't kidding around. And the judge takes out 2 beer mugs and just puts them on the counter there. This acting is great between the two of them. Boy, and they just look each other in the eyes. And, well, you know what? The judge pours himself a mug full of whiskey. And then Gary Cooper just takes sort of a pint bottle of it and show no weakness, no fear. He turns it upside down and puts the whole bottle in his mug. And they look at each other, and they pick up those 2 mugs of whiskey and drink them. And that's a no kidding around drinking. And they do that then. They get more whiskey out. And that they get to know each other, if that's what you can call it. They get to know each other in this tough, Old West way, and there's something about Gary Cooper's character that the judge just likes and isn't going to just hang him that second, which he's perfectly capable of. And they drink and drink and drink in this crazy way. And then there's it's so well done. It's such a good scene. And then we have a cut to eventually, there's Gary Cooper passed out cold. We can see the sun coming through the little wooden window there. And it's in the back room at the judge's place. And the judge is also, he's sleeping there too. It's just, whew. And folks, that movie begins and goes along and is so good. And these characters are played so well. And they get to know each other for good and ill. And it moves to where, Lily Langtry is going to be appearing in a small theater not far from them. Well, it's a day's ride, and it's about 30, 40 miles, but they could do that. But that's just for the judge to go to. He doesn't invite Gary, and there's other things that happen. Folks, it's a terrific movie. The Westerner from 1940, directed by the great William Wyman, and starring Gary Cooper, Walter Brennan, so many other fine actors. But you put those two together, and that's a movie right there. And that getting to know you drinking scene is my magic movie moment for today. Take a look at it. You'll be glad you did. But we're still on Milleronia, of course, and Colonel Jeff is here, of course. And I already said it's beautiful, of course. But you see, the thing is, I know people all over America think, but the beach, I love the beach. Let's go to the beach. Wouldn't that be the most beautiful thing ever at the beach? And I understand. Sure, if you're from, Montana, Wisconsin, Minnesota, any of these terrific places, you can say, I'd love to see the beach in Southern California. Well, not to me. I have to be honest. I hate the beach. I know that sounds cranky, but back on the mainland is Stately Miller Manor is 20 minutes from the beach. But as I said, the most famous beaches in the world. And in 30 years, I've only been there twice. And twice. It doesn't mean much to me. It never has. And on those two times, I remember I went there alone. Both times, just put on my trunks, took a towel and a book, and walked out to my car and drove down to the beach, parked, walked to the sand and surf, spread the towel, sat down, opened the book, and what? Now what? I swear, I promise you, I don't even know. Now what? What do you do now? Well, I brought the book, but I've never been able to read on a beach. It's too sunny, too bright, and too sandy. Sand gets blown all over the place, on you, on the book, and in your hair. It's not doable. I know book commercials say, hey, take a book to the beach. No. You know what? It's not a book anymore. But so I'm sitting there now. Well, what do you do? What do I do now? Can't read. All right. So I sat up and looked down to the water there. I guess I'll take a stroll down to the water there, into the water. And, sure, I'm on the beach. They have a lot of water there. On the mainland, that's the Pacific Ocean. That's big enough, isn't it? Well, all right. And I just, so I left my sneakers and the book and the towel there and headed out down to it's about another 100 feet to the water. As long as I'm here, might as well say, I got in the water. And I don't mean to dive through waves. I mean, just to even get your feet cooled off and wade in a little bit and into the ocean. I mean, you're at the ocean. But I started walking there, and after about 30, 40 feet, I just said, the heck with it. I can't. And I turned around and walked back to the towel. It just didn't interest me. And I know most of you thinking, well, you're nuts. It would interest you. All right, fine. Not me. And now, so what do I do now? I can't read. And took a stroll to the water, but stopped halfway. And, oh, well, I don't like where I am. I can't lie down. I can't lay myself down in the sand on the towel. It just doesn't feel comfortable to me. And I thought, so I looked up, they have the pier, the big long boardwalk with a Ferris wheel that you've seen pictures of that in movies and TV shows. And it looks great. And they have, of course, all places, on the boardwalk that restaurants and, fast food places and sit down places. And all right, well, I guess I might as well do that. Now it's okay. So I pick up my towel, pick up the book, pick up the sneakers, and I walk to the boardwalk. It's only about 100 feet. And I get to there. There's a long staircase going up to the boardwalk. And I took that. Boy, that thing it was like the Washington Monument with stairs. You just go up and up and up. But that's all right. You get up to the top there. You're on the boardwalk now, and boy. And then I look down the boardwalk down to where, the Ferris wheels and all the restaurants and things are. And bunch of fellas fishing off the pier there. So, all right, now here I am. I'll start walking down towards it. Same thing. I went about 50 feet and just thought, why am I doing? I don't want to. I'm not going to go on the Ferris wheel. Wouldn't eat a hot dog in the open air in front of a table there, just in front of the place, and I don't want to. I didn't want to. And so I just stood looking at it, blinked a couple of times, then same thing, turned around, walked back to the staircase, walked down the stairs, and said, you know what, that's it. Why belabor this? And I started walking back to the car, and that kind of walk through sand where you feel like you've barely survived, like you were in the French Foreign Legion and you're just trying to get someplace. And you pad, the feet sinking in the sand. And it's a ways back. It's 100 or 200 feet, but that's all right. Got back to the car and, you know what? I opened the car and I shook out the towel and shook out the book. Everything's covered with sand. And got back in the car, my car, and turned it on and turned the air conditioning on. Now I'm happy. Once I got the car turned on and the air conditioning on, well, that's what I really want. I didn't want anything else about the beach. So I let out a breath and I, had a smile in the car and then, pulled back and started driving home. I figured I can go, if I'm hungry, I can go to a restaurant there. Doesn't have to be a fancy place, but you know what I mean, where you are. Same thing. And I did that, drove home. Remember, it's only 20, 25 minutes. And it's only the afternoon. And I got back to, Ventura Boulevard, where all the nice places are. The main highway that runs through all these towns in a row. And I passed a couple of places and realized I don't even want to go to a place. You know what? Let me just go home and I did. I pulled in the garage and, said hi to the dogs. No one else was there. And I did one of those things that it's always fun to do, always lovely. You just pull your trunks off, everything off, and you go in the bathroom there and get in the shower. That's fun too. You take a shower after that, and now you're getting somewhere. And dried off, and that's nice. And just, put on some shorts, some gym shorts, and a T-shirt. That's good enough. Sure, I was hungry, I could have grabbed something from the fridge, and I did. I made a little cheese sandwich, and there was some leftover rice thing, kind of a rice pudding thing. And I brought those into the bedroom, which my wife has told me not to do, by the way. But, well, she wasn't there, and just me and the dog, so I put the stuff on the night table and got into bed and turned on the Rifleman, which is what I wanted in the first place. So now, with the air conditioner on, in bed, all showered off, and with food on the night table there, I'm watching Chuck Connors deal with his stuff. That pow, 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 pow. This is great. And then I got in the bed there and put my head back down on the pillow. Out cold. Didn't eat the food. Didn't see the Rifleman. Just 30 seconds after putting my head down, boy, this feels cold. And I realized, though, you know what? Do what you want. There's no reason you have to think, as I did, I guess I still do, with all sorts of things. Hey, you know what you do? Bring a book to the beach. No. And then we'll get something to eat at the beach. No, thank you. And sure, just be there and get sand on you. No, you know what? No, thank you. And I know if you like it, I'm glad you do. And if you live in places that are still just awful and you want to say, you know, I'd love to go to the beach in Southern California. Good, I'm glad. But you won't see me there. You'll see me sleeping with the Rifleman on. I know that, and you know that too. We know the same things, though, that Homer is Homer and Pluto is a planet. So remember, folks, as always, if you walked out of bed today and had a job to go to and a home to come back to and someone there who cares about you, folks, game's over and you've won. Don't worry about anything else. And thank you. We'll see you here next time.